So what do you think about AI? Just fab, pros, cons, bad for humanity, the end of humanity, the savior of humanity? What's going on?
All of the above.
Yes, yes, and yes, and
Yes,
a side
yes,
of mashed
and yes.
potatoes,
Next
or what?
question. So before we talk about AI, we got to understand technology. Like, technology has always been invented to improve our way of doing something. While the intention to create it has been good, someone always figures out a way to use it for bad. Whether it's iron, where people made like hammers to build houses, but they also made swords to kill each other. Or steel, where we got these H-beams that can carry a lot of weight and we have skyscrapers. Or we found out it's very hard to penetrate. We make armors and tanks to go to wars. There's always pros and cons. AI is no different. To get something closer, internet was no different either. There's a lot of good through the internet. Our life really we can't live our lives today without the internet. But it's still, there's a lot of hacking, there's a lot of cybersecurity issues, there's a lot of black market, underground internet. So the question is, us as human, are we inherently more likely to use it for good or for bad? And then for those evildoers out there, are they going to be able to outsmart the defenses we put in front of them or not? I think AI is going to be the exact same way. There's already signs that AI helps in every single industry that can use a computer, for example. Like in technology, AI can help developers become a lot faster, make less mistakes, be more organized. In business, AI can definitely help organize meetings, take notes, suggest emails, write content, edit videos, edit photos. Like it helps a lot, right? But at the same time, it could easily be used in a social hacking campaign, because it's so good at figuring out what people want to hear, what they don't hear. So it's really gonna depend. Like AI, for example, in the financial industry, just like it could be used to analyze data and give you trends and probably offer the best product to your client, it could be used to in a cyber attack against the bank.
So why don't we take a couple steps back, okay? What is AI? Obviously, it's an acronym for artificial intelligence. But what is artificial intelligence? So for maybe the person who's not really into tech, what is it exactly? A lot of people just, because ChatGPT was basically the first provider at it to the masses, everybody thinks, oh, AI equals ChatGPT. Yeah. Well, not really, right? So, can you explain that just a little bit?
I have to explain it, but a very, very short answer.
Yeah, very short answer.
Very short answer. Computers thinking for themselves. Okay, well, that's too much, right? So let's start about computers. Think back of the very first computer that was able to multiply 6-digit by 7-digit, like a calculator. That's smart, right? Like anybody back then who used to calculate by hand, they looked at the calculator and said, wow, this is really smart. So, but it's just an algorithm. Before, it's an algorithm that was programmed by someone into that computer. Which brings me to the answer I just gave. AI as we have it today is computers teaching themselves how to do things or how to achieve certain results. And that is the scary part, right? Because you give the computer the intended result, you give it a few inputs, and you let it figure out how to put inputs together to give you the result that you need. And the big concern here is, well, what if now we put AI in charge of making life decisions? And now they look at the input that life gives us, and they have the output. Let's just give it, the output is save humanity. And then in some weird algorithm black box that only that particular computer has taught itself to do, it has predetermined that if it doesn't kill half of humanity today, chances are, to save the other half, chances are we will lose 99% of humanity, and then it acts on it. Now, that's the scary part about AI. That's what people are afraid of. But come on, like...
So this reminds me of what happened a couple months ago with Altman, and how the board basically said, no, you're going too fast with this, and they fired him, right?
Yeah.
And somehow he got placed back in his seat, and then the entire board got fired and replaced, right? Mm-hmm. So is this basically what that board was looking at?
That's what they were looking at. They were like, you're going too fast without really putting restrictions on what AI can teach itself, on what it can do. And it's not that OpenAI is doing a bad thing. It's because right now this is such a blank space that there is no regulation. Nobody can even think, okay, you're going to regulate something, right? You got to think of what bad ramification you're trying to avoid. That's why you're creating the regulation. Well, people can't even begin to think of what negative ramifications are going to occur from AI to even begin to regulate it. So if you're thinking of regulating something that you can't even think of what bad it could cause, it will stop you from doing all the advances that you know for a fact what the positive impact is going to be. And I think that's right. If I know I can keep investing in this AI because I know for a fact it's going to help me cure cancer down the line, why are you stopping me because you think I should think of what bad it can do? Because every month I wait, it's a month I'm not solving cancer. So it's a chicken and egg kind of thing. What do you think about that, Josie?
Until I started researching, I didn't know that there was different language models and different algorithms. I just thought, oh, there's only one. There's only one AI. There's only one ChatGPT. Well, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of different algorithms. There's a lot of different large language models. And what it teaches itself, how it teaches itself, really depends on the algorithm, right? And that blew my mind because now it's just not linear where it's just one. It's multiple large language models doing multiple things, and then you're trying to control something you cannot control. So yes, it's kind of like a decentralized way of thinking. I don't know if I'm making myself like, you no longer can control everything is what I'm saying, because it's not just 1 + 1, it's 1 times infinite amount of variables, right? So maybe again, not trying to solve it, right? But decentralizing it maybe is the best way to so you just don't control it, so you just let it go and you give it to the masses. And I think that has been I think that's the Pandora's box that we've already opened.
Yeah.
These large language models are open to the world and to developers to develop on, right? So it's OpenAI will try to fire, or the board will try to fire Altman because he's doing reckless decisions, right? But did they forget that there's other large
There's
language
hundreds of other companies that do the same thing.
There's other,
one of them will reach.
It's like, but they're only talking about that, right? So I'm saying it's like you're trying to control something that you cannot control anymore. It's out. It's in the masses. It's decentralized. It's out for the world to see, and you cannot control everyone. So AI has so much potential, and we need to stop worrying about what it can do if it goes to the bad. I mean, come on, it's already going to happen. It's already out there. People already are developing on it. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. And let's get as much good as we can out of it before any bad happens. But maybe if we develop the good side so well, we can have a war of AIs where we have good AIs trying to stop bad AIs from doing bad stuff.
Exactly, right? It's like, I think the end result will be something that we cannot even imagine right now.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of the big dilemma, right? Like, why you're stopping us from continuing this great work, because you can even tell me what you think might go wrong. Well, think about it first and then stop us. Yeah, AI is fascinating.
Yeah, but I think going back to humans and our nature, whenever we see something new, we usually just it's like I just ate pizza today. It's the first time I ate it. I love it. And I'm going to eat pizza for the rest of my life, you know? And then we get tired of it.
Yeah.
In like a month. We're like, isn't there something else, you know? So I think right now AI's adoption rate is very high and everybody's like talking about it and buzzing about it and worried about it and excited about it, right? It's going to be absolutely transformational, and I think it has the endless possibilities, but I also think, you know, things will level out.
I think where most people are gonna really appreciate AI is in the day-to-day life with interaction with the phone. Phones are ways to keep us organized, and it's mainly because we don't have assistants. And the phone, we call it our digital assistant, but it's a dumb assistant. It doesn't do anything. That's before, you used to be your own assistant by keeping things on an agenda and a notebook, and then we moved to the Palm. Remember the old, or whatever, the Palm. There was like the Blackberries, and now we have phones, smart. But I think the next step of phones are not gonna be phones. There's already some wearables right now. There's just like a pin, you put it here, and then I forgot what the name of the product was. And then I think the next, that's gonna be AI is gonna have to be very good with that, because it doesn't have a screen. So it has to intuitively know what you mean based on interacting with you in day to day.
Yeah.
And then the next step is gonna be, well, you would really gonna be a bionic humans, where right now we're bionic, but we're not tied. I mean, we're not physically tied to our devices, we're emotionally tied to them. But I think next phase is gonna be, we're gonna be physically tied to our devices, where we might even have some chips implanted or whatever it is that will communicate to us what we need to be done, assisting us in our day-to-day, monitoring our heart rate. Like,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen.
If I had to compare AI to anything, it's kind of like the internet. In 10 years from now, we're not even going to have imagined living without it, right? I think it's going to be an intricate part of the way that we do our day-to-day, right? But right now, it's so new, and new is exciting and kind of scary at the same time. And that's why we're fantasizing about the good it can do, but we're also over fantasizing about the negative ramifications of it, right?
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you for seeing the podcast. Hope you like the content. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.